Used supercars that will bankrupt youth. There's nothing more tempting than a used supercar. One day it costs $250,000. 5 years later, it's listed for $89,999. That looks like a bargain. It sounds like a bargain. It feels like you've beaten the system. Until the first repair bill hits, because here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Some used supercars are cheap for a reason. And if you buy the wrong one, it won't just drain your savings, it will financially destroy you. This isn't about hate. These cars are beautiful. They're fast. They're engineering masterpieces, but they can also be ticking financial time bombs. Let's start with a car that perfectly represents the cheap illusion, the Ferrari 360 Modena. When it launched, the 360 was a six-figure exotic icon. Today, you can find examples at shockingly accessible prices. And that's where people get trapped, because while the purchase price has dropped, the maintenance costs haven't. Ferrari parts still cost Ferrari money. Major services, clutch replacements on F1 transmission models, and deferred maintenance from previous owners can quickly add up to tens of thousands of dollars. The car may be affordable to buy, but it was never designed to be affordable to own. Then there's the Lamborghini Gallardo. The Gallardo is often marketed as the entry-level Lamborghini, and yes, prices have fallen dramatically compared to when it debuted. But this is still a hand-built Italian exotic with complex electronics and an aggressive single-clutch transmission in earlier models. E-gear systems can wear quickly. Clutch replacements are expensive. Suspension components aren't cheap. And once something electrical fails, you're not visiting your local mechanic, you're visiting a specialist. Ownership becomes a financial endurance test. Now let's talk about the Audi R8 V8, the one that lures buyers with its relatively reasonable price tag. On the surface, it feels like a smart exotic choice. It shares components with Audi's lineup. It's less flashy than a Lamborghini, but here's what people forget. Exotic-level parts pricing still applies. Magnetic ride suspension failures are notoriously expensive. Carbon buildup issues can become costly. And if you opt for the automated manual version, clutch replacements aren't cheap. It's not that the R8 is unreliable. It's that when something goes wrong, it goes wrong expensively. And then we have one of the most dangerous temptations in the used exotic market, the Bentley Continental GT. At one point, this car cost more than a house. Today, early models can be found for the price of a brand new economy sedan. Twin-turbo W12 engine, all-wheel drive, unmatched luxury. It sounds like the deal of the century. Until the air suspension fails, until the electronics begin to glitch, until the maintenance history reveals neglect. The Continental GT is brutally complex, and complexity equals cost. A cheap Bentley can quickly become the most expensive car you've ever owned, but perhaps the most financially terrifying category is the aging V10 and V12. Exotics. Cars like the BMW M6 V10 or older Aston Martins offer incredible sound and presence for relatively low purchase prices, but high-performance engines with tight tolerances don't age cheaply. Rod bearing issues, SMG transmission failures, expensive cooling system repairs. One major mechanical failure can exceed the value of the car itself. Here's the deeper problem. Depreciation creates a false sense of affordability. When a supercar drops from $200,000 to $70,000, it enters a new buyer demographic. But the car hasn't changed. It still requires the same maintenance budget it did when it was new. The only difference is that the new owner may not be financially prepared for it, and that's where people get hurt. Insurance is higher. Specialized labor rates are higher. Parts availability can be limited. Even basic services can cost multiples of what you'd pay on a normal car. Many used supercars end up neglected because previous owners couldn't afford the maintenance. Then the next buyer inherits the problems. It becomes a cycle, a financial hot potato that keeps passing hands. Now, this doesn't mean all used supercars are bad investments. Some models are relatively reliable if maintained properly. Some even appreciate over time, but the key word is maintained properly. A pre-purchase inspection isn't optional, it's mandatory. Service records aren't a bonus, they're survival documents. And if you can't comfortably afford a major $15,000 surprise repair without panic, you probably can't afford the car, because the real price of a super isn't the listing price. It's the ownership cost, and that's what separates dreamers from prepared buyers. Supercars were engineered for performance first. Cost efficiency was never the priority. When they're new and under warranty, they're magical. But once that safety net disappears, you're fully exposed to the reality of exotic engineering. The tragedy is that many people stretch financially just to say they own one. They sacrifice liquidity. They tie up savings. They gamble on reliability, and sometimes they lose, because nothing is more expensive than a cheap supercar. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more brutally honest automotive documentaries, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Would you risk it for your dream supercar, or play it safe? Because sometimes the biggest flex isn't owning an exotic. It's being able to afford it twice.
When you buy a supercar, you're buying a finished masterpiece. It's a trophy. But when you build a supercar killer, you're writing a story. You're the one who spent the late nights in the garage chasing a boost leak at 2 a.m. You're the one who balanced the fuel maps and felt the exact moment that turbo finally spooled to its limit. The numbers don't lie, but the feeling is what stays with you. A Ferrari might have the heritage of Maranello, but a 900-horsepower Honda Civic or a stripped-out twin-turbo Mustang has the heritage of grit. It's the sound of a blow-off valve echoing off concrete. It's the smell of high-octane fuel in a parking lot at midnight. It's the community of enthusiasts who don't care about your bank account, only your 60-foot time. The gap isn't just closing because of technology. It's closing because the little guys stopped asking for permission to be fast. They took the tools, they took the risk, and they built their own legends. So, as the sun sets and the garage doors roll up across the world, remember, the most dangerous car on the road isn't always the one with the most expensive badge. It's the one with the most heart.